Get your copy of The Church Furrow by acclaimed author Stephanie Seaton. This compelling story follows a young woman's journey of redemption through faith and community after straying from the path of righteousness. Rediscover her purpose and meaning in life. Available now on popular online book sites. Don't miss out on The Church Furrow, a transformative tale resonating with the power of faith and self-discovery.
Thank you for tuning in. A live stream new episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show will be starting soon. With your host, minister, and author Stephanie M. Seaton. If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.
Hello, 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 and welcome to a special edition of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. I'm glad you're tuning in tonight. Tonight, I have got Miss Gwendolyn Jones in the house. She is a CEO and founder of Arise International. Welcome, Miss Gwen.
Welcome. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. I'm very happy to have you here tonight. I have had the pleasure of being able to talk to her behind the scenes. We've had dinner and had the opportunity to talk about her amazing organization. This is going to be touching, moving, inspirational, and all of that tonight. So go ahead and buckle your seats, like, tag, and share, subscribe. If you know someone who has been a victim of sexual abuse, who is a survivor of sexual abuse, any of those things, suffering from trauma, any type of sexual abuse, molestation, anything of that sort, make sure that they have access to this edition. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, just so that they know they are not the only ones who have been through this situation. And as we were saying before we went live, that you can, with time and through prayer, get to the other side. And so tonight we are going to dive into a really amazing conversation tonight, that has, listen, we were just talking about the fact this affects so many people. Miss Gwen and I were talking about, and I'm just gonna start there, Miss Gwen. I'm gonna start there.
Okay.
We were talking about the fact that so many times, people, when someone dies, when someone loses a child, a husband, a spouse, or whatever, nobody tells them, get over it.
Right.
Nobody tells them, okay, you've cried enough, you've thought about this person enough, you've grieved enough. But yet so many times as a survivor of sexual abuse or sexual assault or molestation, we have been told, we've already heard your story. We don't want to hear that again. Why is she still talking about that? Why is he still talking about that? Because it doesn't just affect women, it affects men and women. And we're told how long we can grieve. Well, this is the reality, and Gwen and I were talking about this. When we were molested, when we were raped, when we were abused, there was a part of us that was taken against our will.
Yes.
And you lose that part of yourself, and it takes a process to be able to gather your thoughts around how that happened, because you have to go through these stages of, was it your fault? Was it not your fault? What did you do to allow this? What did you do to invite this? And if you didn't, then why were you chosen? It's a whole process. Am I right, Miss Gwen?
Oh, a whole process.
And before you can get to that process of healing, these are things that psychologically you must go through.
Yes.
And so for a person who's never been through this to say, get over it, that is the worst thing you can do.
Yes.
To a survivor. Okay. So if you don't hear anything else tonight, please never ever in your life say that again, to someone who tells you they have been through some type of sexual trauma, abuse, or molestation. You cannot tell them to get over it or that you don't want to hear their story again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start off this way. Miss Gwendolyn Jones, the very first question that I usually ask all of my guests is for them to tell us, who are you? So, Miss Gwendolyn Jones, tell us, who are you?
Whew, that's a loaded question.
Loaded question.
Well, I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm an advocate, I'm a facilitator, I am a born again believer. I mean, I wear many hats. So it depends on what space I'm in.
I understand. I understand. I understand. So, Miss Gwen is also the founder and executive director of Reclaiming My Voice and Power, Hope, and Healing After Sexual Trauma, My Story When Tragedy Struck. Is her story, and you can find her story on her personal website for her business, Arise International. And I did take a couple of excerpts from her personal story, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit more here in just a moment. Um, let's kick the ball off by kind of let us know, what was it like for you, Miss Gwen, as far as faith? Did faith come into your life early on in life, or was that something that came into your life later?
I would say early in my life, I was raised by a great aunt, which we lived in St. Louis from the age of 6 to 12. And, back in the day, you didn't ask your guardians or your authority figures, or you didn't ask them, whether you want to go to church. They didn't ask us that. You went to church, period. So it was just automatic. We always got up and went to church. The church was in walking distance. And I do attribute to her for planting the word of God in me. However, I did not accept Christ until I was an adult at the age of 24. So my faith played a huge role in my recovery. So going into recovery, well, I accepted Christ, like I said earlier, at age 24. But the Lord didn't deal with that issue of trauma until I was 36.
Okay.
And I would question, and I didn't understand. I'm like, well, why didn't you deal with that earlier? I had to be 36. But when as I started to heal and look back, I couldn't go to those painful places without the word as an anchor. And he allowed me from age 24, when I accepted him, and age 36 to grow spiritually in his word.
Whoa.
Because he knew at 36, I was going to go to some places that was going to shake me to the core.
Wow. That was deep. Wow, that was deep, Gwen.
Yeah, but that's my reality. And I needed to hang on to God's word.
Yeah.
When I faced the reality of what
Yeah.
happened to me, when I faced that betrayal
Yeah.
and that abandonment,
Mm.
I needed his word. I needed him.
Yeah.
And he allowed me to hold on to his word as an anchor.
Wow. Whew, that's a lot to unpack right there. You wondered why not before then,
Mm-hmm.
but you came to the conclusion that he had to prepare you, in a sense.
Absolutely.
He had to prepare you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually,
Right.
in order to unpack the
Yeah.
details, in order for you to make it through
Right.
reliving it.
Absolutely. And
Jesus.
God's
Mm,
timing is perfect in all
yeah.
things.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I totally understand what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. I'm I'm here with you. I'm thinking. Um, for someone that can resonate as you with this happening in at the beginning, early stages in life. I have often said and believe that the enemy knows that we have, callings on our life, and that the Lord has a call and a purpose for us,
Mm-hmm.
and that, he often starts young, trying to attack us,
Mm-hmm.
to try to deter us from our destinies. He can't stop our destinies, but
Right.
he tries to deter and delay our destinies.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like for you to kind of tell us a little bit about your story, as much as you would like, your testimony of what that looked like. I know that this was traumatic for you. It started at a young age, um, and it was someone in your home. So, um, can you share that journey with us, and then kind of lead us into how that inspired you to start Arise International?
Okay. Absolutely. Well, I always like to divide my life into three segments. My family is originally from Louisiana, my mom and my dad, and I was born in Louisiana. So from birth to six, I was there with my birth mom. And then from 6 to 12, I was sent to live with a great aunt in St. Louis that I said earlier, and experienced a lot of abandonment and rejection from biological parents that I didn't have any contact with for that entire 6 year period. Then at age 12, my mother comes and she wants to bring me to Dallas, well, with her and my younger siblings. I'm the oldest daughter, oldest granddaughter. So I'm here in Dallas. I'm just plucked up from St. Louis from with my aunt, and then I moved to Dallas. And my mom was in a relationship with her significant other. They were living together. Never met him. He had never met me. Actually, didn't have that kind of relation. Never had seen my mom really. Like I said, from 6 to 12. The first day that I arrived in Dallas, the abuse started.
Jesus.
And that really confused me for a very long time. I was so confused about, because I didn't grow up around men in the house when I was with my aunt in
Okay.
St. Louis, and then to be transported into this new environment and the
Mhm.
abuse happens right away.
Immediate. Yeah.
I'm thinking, as that little girl, we're talking back in the 70s when they didn't talk about this issue. So, and I'm thinking, okay, I did something wrong, because children, we think that adults can do no wrong. I was raised under that umbrella that says children ought to be seen and not heard. You didn't have a voice. And so I'm thinking that I did something to cause this person to do this to me,
Yeah.
and just wore that shame and guilt, and actually was told it was my fault. So there you go. So here I am, this
Let,
12
let me
years.
let me ask you, who
Go ahead.
told you it was your fault? Was it your mother or the person?
My mother.
I
Later,
I was
later
afraid.
when I told, I
I,
was
I
I was blamed for it.
and that happens a lot.
It happens a lot. I see clients in the recovery program with that same story
I
over
can
and over
identify with
again.
that. Yeah, because it shifts the blame when they don't know what to do or how to protect you or react.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay.
So there I was in this environment for 5 years, from age 12 to 17. And I'm trying to protect myself the best way that I could. making a plan. Well, I'm not going to go in the room when he's in there by himself. I'm going to make sure a sibling or somebody is in there. Or when I go to school, I'm going to make sure that I'm in every type of program that can be so I can prolong my time for coming to the house. Just very hyper vigilant, trying to have a plan, trying to protect myself as best as I could as this little girl. But I couldn't. It didn't work no matter what I did.
Yeah.
I was still being abused.
Right.
And so finally, at age 17, the abuse started escalating. And I know now, since I've been in recovery, that sexual abuse happens in three categories:
Okay.
visual, verbal, and physical. And I
Okay.
experienced all three areas.
Okay.
So at age 17, when I saw that the abuse was escalating, I ran away.
Okay. Now let me ask you this, because we will have somebody watching this tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and this may be the first time they've ever watched a interview of this sort
Mm-hmm.
with multiple survivors that have ever been open or proactive about even having the conversation. Um, you said that there are three different forms. You said visual. Um,
Yes.
so are we talking about exposing themselves, or are we talking about expose, or are we talking about them making you watch porno? Like, how is it visual? What defines visual?
All of the above. You said it.
Okay.
Exposing themselves to the
Okay.
child,
Okay.
making the child view pornography,
Okay.
and in addition to making the child watch other people in sexual activity.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Because that is a form of grooming. Am I correct?
Yes,
That is a
absolutely.
form of grooming the child to then redo, or not redo, to enact
Hmm.
the visuals that they have put before the child,
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sexual grooming is the action or the behavior that abusers use to establish an emotional connection of trust
Yeah.
with that the child who is vulnerable. And they not only will groom the child, they will groom an adult that's present as well
Yeah.
to gain that adult's trust. So when the child does disclose the abuse, it's like,
You
you
won't
couldn't have
believe it.
done anything like that.
Yeah. Now let's
Nobody
talk about
believes it.
that. Now let's talk about that, because you said something very important right there. And I believe the Lord is revealing something right here that a lot of people probably have never heard before, Gwen.
Hmm.
The abuser will also groom an adult that's close to the child,
Yes.
because they want the child to think that it's okay for them to have this relationship with them. They want them in some way to think that the parent or the guardian would approve. Am I right?
Yep.
So they will start to do small improper things and escalate them to larger improper things in front of this person. Am I correct?
Yes. It's always about pushing that boundary and
And
keep pushing it just a little bit more each time.
there you go. And it also shows that the person that is supposed to be the protector of the child,
Yes.
it shows whether or not they are invested in the child, whether they are paying attention to the child, and whether or not they're alert. Because when they do not pick up on these things, it gives the green light to the pedophile. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And then the child thinks, I'm worthless.
Yeah,
I'm not even worth protecting.
yeah,
I'm not even worth saving.
yeah, yeah. Or and the child is led to believe that it's okay, these things are happening, that
Right.
everybody has signed off on these things
Yes.
because now it has been acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
It is so, use the word evil.
yeah,
That's the only word I have for it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, evil and conniving.
The second form, what did you say was the second form, Gwen?
Verbal,
Verbal.
right? And
Ver-
that is telling a child what you want to do to them, or telling the child what you want the child to do to them. It
right.
can go both ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
And that is not only verbal, but mental abuse as well.
yeah,
Um, and then also, you are now opening up a door
right,
spiritually as well. We're talking about this also from a spiritual aspect. You are now opening up a spiritual door as well, because now you've crossed the visual, you've crossed the verbal, and now the last stage of it is
it's the
the
physical.
physical.
Hmm.
So there's a process, and that's what, if for those of you that are watching the broadcast tonight, it is especially people that say, "Oh well, I just didn't see that coming. I could not believe." Go back and backtrack. It's, it was a process that led to these things. Now sometimes it can be a quick process, situation,
Right,
but generally the predator has assessed the area because
right,
they're trying to make an assessment on them getting away with and being able to continue their behavior.
absolutely. And we have to remember that sexual abuse is a crime of opportunity.
It's a crime of opportunity.
So they have a plan.
They
And
have
like
a
you
plan.
said, they have already assessed the situation
They have
to know
already, yeah,
when that child is going to be alone
yeah, yeah,
and when they can have access to them. So
that's
my
right.
offender had access to me
Yeah,
24/7. I mean, that was my home. That
yeah,
was the place that I was supposed to be safe.
yeah.
That was the place that I was supposed to be protected. But my offender is sitting at the dinner table.
Jesus.
My
Mm,
offender is sitting there watching the evening news.
yeah,
And so I'm always hyper vigilant because I can't get away from that threat.
Jesus.
Because
Yeah,
I never knew when the abuse was going to happen.
yeah, yeah. Now let me ask you this, Gwen. When you were going through this, did at any time, and I'm not asking this to put any blame or fault on your mom, but did at any time your mom have any conversation with you and question you about any type of different behaviors or anything of that sort?
Unfortunately, she did not. She
Okay.
never came to me to ask if anything was going on.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, since I am the oldest, I had younger siblings up under me.
Yeah.
I found out later that it was my brothers who was telling her things that they saw. But
Gotcha.
she never came to me and said anything. I'm paranoid. You know, I'm just stricken in fear. And so when I did tell, I was older
Hmm.
and she didn't believe me.
Yeah. And so then your thought was, why did I even bother to tell? And
Right,
then you thought you were going to face consequences
right,
for telling.
right. Well, I gathered up the courage to tell, and my mind was, well, if I tell, she's going to blame me.
Hmm.
And I'm going to be accused of breaking up the family.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
got all that you're wrestling with.
Yeah.
But I had to say something because I wanted the abuse to stop.
Yeah.
And when I did, I got just what I thought I was going to get
Yeah.
blamed,
Yeah.
get accused of breaking up the family,
Yeah.
and left in an environment that was unsafe
Yeah.
because she didn't believe me and she didn't do anything. The authorities were never called.
Yeah. The
I was
routine didn't change.
right. I was never removed from the environment. I was
Yeah.
left in that environment for 5 years to try to
Yeah.
protect myself the best way I could. And it was only at 17 when I decided I've had enough. I'm out of here.
And you ran away.
I ran away, and I was full of rebellion right then. Nobody could tell me nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Did you ever find out that any of your other siblings were experienced the same trauma, or were you picked, or were you the one that was chosen?
You know, that's a good question. Before recovery, I did ask my siblings if that had happened to them, and they said no. Now, this is their biological father. He's not mine.
Okay.
So I was told no. But being in recovery, now I know the definition of sexual abuse:
Hmm.
visual, verbal, and physical.
Yeah.
They probably didn't get physical, but they got verbal,
Mm.
they got visual. So that is a form of sexual abuse.
It's still sexual abuse, whether it was carried out physically or not. It's still
Right,
sexual abuse. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because as you and I know,
Yeah.
it's never just the one victim.
No.
No,
No.
it is usually a long laundry list
Well,
of people that they victimized.
yeah. And my first thought, Gwen, when you said that it happened on your very first day there,
Yes.
was who was the first victim that he knew it was a safe territory?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was my very first thought. He had already assessed that he would be able to do that.
Right.
And so that was part of why I asked that question, because most predators, especially in the home, relatives, people that are close, they developed a pattern. They've assessed the situation. So he had already came to a conclusion that
Right.
he'd be able to do that, to try
Right.
that, to do that on the first date.
Absolutely.
Um,
So I know, I didn't know that at the time, but through recovery and time, as I look back over that situation and assessed it, I know that I was not his first victim.
yeah,
And I understand that it happened that first day because that's who he was.
that's who he was, and it had nothing to do with you.
Had nothing to do with me. It could have been Mary. It could have been Susie. It
Yeah,
could have been
anybody.
Linda.
Yeah,
Placed in his path,
that's right.
he would abuse them
Yeah, it didn't
because
matter.
he already had a history
Yeah.
of other priors.
Hmm.
And so there I was. Gwendolyn is just the one that was placed in his path.
That's right.
And he just did who he was.
Yeah, he was being who he was. I want to let me see, how do I do this? We're talking about this subject, and I want to say something on this subject without showing any disrespect to the people who maybe didn't know how to protect. Let me say that. They didn't
Hmm.
know how to protect, maybe because of things that had happened to them previously, or maybe just
Right.
lack of knowledge, or maybe generational. Maybe it had already happened and it was something of norm. They just, they had been taught to cover it up. In our history, in our culture, one of the sad realities is that a lot of Black families have been taught what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yes.
And so, um, when we go to our parents and we go to them, the grandparents, the parents, and we go to them with things of this magnitude to try to get help, I really want you and I to use some words to help the viewers really understand the process of what it takes for a survivor to go to someone and to finally be able to release this. Um, because I don't think they really understand how long most of us carry this before we say something.
Oh.
Um, I know let me say uh, for myself, one situation, one relative. So for me, it was a relative on my mom's side and a relative on my dad's side.
Mm-hmm.
The relative on my mom's side was I was 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
The relative on my dad's side, I probably was only, it was before I was able to start school. So I probably was only 3 or 4.
Okay.
I did not say anything until I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
So from 4 to 17, and from 7, 8 to 14, I said nothing. Now, I had some cousins that knew on my mother's side because they were victims as well. So the cousins on my mother's side knew about it. But you think about all those years that this was just something that was just going and spinning in my head and in my thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
holding on to it.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what was your, you said your starting age. What was your starting age and your confession age?
12 to 17.
12 to 17. I have some friends that I have talked to and shared stories with, and theirs were very similar. It was 7, 8, all the way to 20, 30 years old before they ever talked about these things. And again, I think the point that I'm trying to make is that this isn't something that it happens and you're ready to talk about it the next day.
No. No.
That that's not how it happens. You don't just it's not, you don't just feel safe the next day
Right.
to tell somebody. And then when you do finally decide to talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
as Gwen said, and it's shifted back to you, especially if you're underage, where you had no defense. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there was no way of you defending yourself, a child versus an adult. Um, what does that say? What
Yeah.
does that say?
Well,
Um,
when we're children and we're so young, we don't even have the language
no,
to know what that is.
no, no,
So, and the experience is so shaming.
yeah,
The shame was there.
yeah,
The guilt was there, even though if the abuser didn't say anything and didn't say this is your fault. Look what you made me do,
right,
and all this stuff that's going on. So I think it's a lot of factors that play into that keeps us silent.
yeah,
So you have the abuser, you have the shame that you feel as a result of being victimized and violated.
yeah,
And then there's also the family dynamics.
mm, yeah,
Because we grew up in environments where 3 rules: don't talk, don't feel, don't trust. When you
yeah,
come from unhealthy family systems,
yeah.
those 3 rules are there.
Let
And
me
you
see.
said one of them: whatever goes on in this house
Stays in this house.
stays in this house. And
So
either it's a spoken rule or unspoken rule. But as children, we got the message.
you understood. And you said something earlier. Children are seen and not heard.
There you go.
And that is where a lot of this sexual immorality and abuse has taken place, because while the adults are living it up, having conversations, living life, they're telling kids to go play in these back rooms.
Yeah.
They're telling kids to go outside. They're telling kids to pretty much disappear. And guess what? They're unsupervised. And then Uncle such and such decides to come back in the back rooms or all these
Mm-hmm.
places
Mm-hmm.
and has a whole nother plan or agenda. And sometimes it's Aunt such and such, because there
Yes.
are young men as well who have
Absolutely. Absolutely.
experience. Yes,
An
that have
offender is
experience.
not just always male, it's females too.
It is females too.
And
But
sometimes female on female.
that is correct. I have definitely talked to some people in that sense as well. So I heard the phrase, Gwen, you were fast.
Oh, yeah.
And my question was, how is a 4-year-old fast? How does a 4-year-old be fast enough to ask
Yeah.
to be
You're not.
molested?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not.
Um, or when, as a survivor, when you have to try to process in your mind, when you do make the confession and talk about what happened, and your relatives or parents and your other family members never stop talking to the person who did it, and they're never held accountable.
Oh yeah, I experienced that. Yeah, and see, that's the other part of keep that keeps a survivor silent, because the family supports and defends the abuser.
The abuser.
Yeah, and so the survivor's voice is taken
Yeah.
because they already know they're going to be ostracized.
Mm-hmm.
The finger's going to point at them, that they're causing trouble in the family. So there's so many dynamics and factors that keep the survivor silent. And
Yeah.
I know for me, I carried the pain for 24 years before I got help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took it into my marriage.
Yeah. I did. I took it into my 3 failed marriages.
Yeah, took it in my marriage.
That's
Had
why.
children, 2
Yeah.
children, and
Yeah.
thinking I'm okay, but I wasn't okay.
You know what? I knew I wasn't okay, Gwen, but I couldn't figure out
What it was.
what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't okay because I knew my
Yeah.
thought pattern was not rational.
Okay.
And when I say that, it's because I wanted to be loved, but then I was looking for ways to sabotage love.
Right.
And so
Right.
it's kind of like, love me, but okay, now you're loving me. Now I'm going to sabotage it.
Right.
And none of it made
That
sense.
fear is there. That fear is there.
Mhm.
Let nobody get close, because if you get close to me, you're going to hurt me.
And,
So let me just shut this down now.
let me shut it down now. And then the abandonment factor.
Mm-hmm.
The abandonment factor.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so all of that mixed in together, if you do not address those things, it
Right.
will mess up relationships, and it will, it will cause you to have a false sense of what love looks like, because
Right.
you won't really be seeking, you'll be seeking love, but what you'll be actually accepting will be less than.
Right.
It
Right.
won't, you won't have a real standard, in other words.
Right.
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 So, whoa, this is a good conversation tonight, Miss Gwen. I know that somebody is watching this and they're probably like, oh, I never heard about it in that way.
Yeah. And the fact, trauma impacts relationships significantly. There's 5 areas. Trauma impacts our physical body,
Yes.
depending on the severity of the abuse. It impacts our mental and emotional state,
Okay.
what we believe about the abuse.
Yeah.
Many, I'm going to say most survivors believe it was my fault.
Yeah.
If they don't take it 100%, it was their fault, they're going to 50% my fault. I shouldn't have opened the door. Or I shouldn't have wore those little short pajamas.
Right.
That had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then it also, I said relationships. It impacts our spirituality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're having in relationships trust issues, control, want to control people, environment, and circumstances out of fear, because what the abuser did, he took away our sense of control.
Yeah.
And so in order to feel safe in those places, we want to control those spaces. But that's problematic because people don't want to be controlled.
No, people don't want to be controlled. And
No.
we don't want to control ourselves,
Yeah,
because
but
it's
that's our
tiring.
coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's a coping mechanism, but it's tiring.
And it's faulty. It's a faulty coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And really, we don't know what healthy relationships look like. Who taught us to have healthy relationships? We didn't, the experience itself violated our boundaries.
Yeah.
We don't know what boundaries are.
Yeah.
I didn't know what boundaries were until I was 36, coming in recovery.
I get it.
Low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Is a major issue for trauma survivors.
Yeah. There's a list of ways that this unhealed trauma can affect your life. And the
Yeah,
first steps, Gwen, is acknowledging it.
absolutely.
Is acknowledging it, finding a safe space to be able to talk about these things.
Yeah,
And that kind of brings us to talking about your program. Um, so, from what I understand, you have two different program options with Arise International.
I do.
You have Support Recovery Group, which is a 15-week program, Shelter from the Storm, which started back in 2008,
Yeah,
3 semesters.
yes.
And then the second option is a 8-week course that holds up to 8 clients. Kind of tell us a little bit more about both of those programs and kind of what that looks like.
Okay. Can I back up just a little bit and talk
Yes,
about how I got into recovery?
yes, please.
And this is how most survivors come into recovery. It's not that
Okay.
we make the choice to say, okay, something is wrong. I need to go and check this out. We usually come in recovery when we hit crisis,
Yeah, yeah.
when life is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, crisis hit in 1994 when
Mm-hmm.
my abuser died.
Mm,
My mom chose to stay with him until his death. So you can
Jesus.
imagine the strain that was with our relationship.
Yeah.
So when he passed that year in 94, my life started spiraling out of control.
Hmm.
I always thought of myself as strong and independent, and I believed that once I left the abusive environment running away, I'm not there, I'm not being abused anymore. So my mindset was, okay, that's in the past. This is who I am now. I can move on with my life. What a lie.
Mm,
What a lie that was.
yeah.
Because I was, yeah, I like to say, a hot mess on 2 feet.
Mm,
Very, very controlling. Anger, had a lot of anger and rage in me, and just wanted to rule over everybody because out of fear, I was afraid.
yeah.
I had that wall put up around me where people couldn't get in. You could only come so far. But the reality of that, I had that wall up. I couldn't get out.
Oh, that was deep. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We got to say that again.
Hmm. I built up the wall to keep people
Ooh.
out,
Mm,
but I was the one that was in prison. I couldn't get out.
I can identify with that. I have been
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
And walls are not boundaries that I had
Yeah.
to learn because I had a wall up.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to the story. 94, spiraling out of control emotionally, depressed, did not know I was depressed. Shared with a girlfriend. We worked together and we went to the same local church together. And she
Mm-hmm.
suggested that I go and make an appointment with our counseling ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been in counseling in my life. So when I saw that it wasn't going away, I heeded her advice, made an appointment with the professional counselor, stumbled in his office. He asked me about my childhood, the sexual abuse came up, and asked me about relationships or whatever. In 15 minutes, he diagnosed me with PTSD and clinical depression as a result of the trauma I experienced in childhood. And I
Wow.
was dumbfounded. I'm like, what? You mean to tell me
Yeah.
that what I'm experiencing now in my life is a result of that happened back there?
Yeah.
Now my dog
Exactly.
wants to talk.
No,
Yeah.
you're fine.
And so that's where the journey started for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he worked with me for 6 months. And I was just like a sponge, soaking up resources and reading everything I could get my hands on about the impact of the trauma and why it was still impacting me at 36 when it happened to me at 12 years old or 17. Why am I still dealing with that?
Hmm.
But see, people don't understand. Well, have to come to the understanding. Let me say it that way. Trauma is just not an event that took place sometime in the past.
No.
It's also the imprint that was left by the experience
Yeah.
on my body,
Yeah.
my brain,
Yeah.
my soul, and my
Woo.
spirit.
Jesus. Yes.
See,
Mm. Yeah.
that's why I was still dealing with it, because the imprint was still there and had
Hold on.
never been
Hold on.
dealt
Hold
with.
on. Hold on, Gwen. Hold on. We gotta say this again. Okay. Say that again. Trauma.
Trauma is not just an event that took place sometime in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm 36. It happened in the past. I was 12 to 17. And
Yeah.
we can't do nothing about the past. Can't change it.
Right.
But presently, I was dealing with the imprint that was left by the experience that was impacted my body, my
Mm.
brain, my soul, which is my mind, will, and emotions, and my spirit.
Every part of you.
Every part of us. So God created us as three part beings.
Yeah. And
You know,
everything was affected by that experience.
everything. And like
Yeah.
one of the advocates says, sexual abuse is not just an attack on the body; it's an assault on the soul and the spirit.
Jesus. Woo.
Well, she said an assault. I said it's a spiritual assault
Yeah.
on the
Spirit.
soul and the spirit.
Yeah. Any level of assault you can think of, because it it just breaks you,
Yeah, it
because
impacts
you
your whole
yeah,
being. So to
yeah,
tell a survivor, move
get over
on,
it, move
get
on,
over that,
let it go.
it is so hurtful, because you don't get over trauma. You have to process that over time, work through that. You
Yeah.
have to identify the lies
Yeah.
that you believe about that experience
Yeah.
and replace it with God's truth.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
so there I was in 94, and then in 95 I came into Shelter from the Storm
Mm-hmm.
that was started by an intern at my church. I came into that program, had never been a part of a support group, and I'm trying to figure out how is this going to help me with a group of women coming together to talk about that ugly stuff. But I found out along that journey that was exactly what I needed,
Mm.
because that was my safe space.
Yeah.
That was the place that I could be real and be me. I could share my thoughts and my feelings, and I could tell these women, and they understood because they had experienced their own. I could
Yeah.
tell them what happened to me and gain the love, the compassion, the support, the encouragement. And
Yeah.
it was in that environment that's where healing takes place.
Yeah.
So there I was, 95, walking through the journey. And it was on my journey to heal from the effects of my experience that Arise International came into being.
Wow.
Because you know why? I was around a group of women that I worked for,
Yeah.
and we talked about everything. We talked about our marriages, our children, we talked about our faith, uh, our school, we shared recipes and all this different stuff. And
Yeah.
so when I was in recovery and I started gaining strength, and I
Yeah.
wanted to share my story with my friends, and I started telling them, oh, I'm in this program, I was sexually abused as a child. And you know what they said?
What's that?
Me too.
Mm.
But we never talked about it.
They understood. Yeah.
We never talked about it up to that point.
Yeah.
We shared everything.
Yeah.
And then I realized that there are a lot of hurting women around me
Yeah.
that have this same experience who are still hurting.
Yeah.
And that's where Arise International was birthed on that healing journey to say, it's time to get up.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to bring recovery and put it in your lap.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get up and go get those resources that are available for you.
Yeah.
And thank God there are tons of resources that are available now. In the 90s, 2000, when I was coming along, it wasn't that many. but there are a lot of resources that are available now.
I am putting on the screen Miss Gwendolyn Jones, advocate, facilitator, mentor, Arise International. That is the telephone number. That is the website for you
Yes.
to have her information. Regardless of what time you're watching this interview, this contact information will be in the link and you can reach out. Miss Gwen, tell them your information as far as Facebook, um, whatever social media platforms you have. Tell them your contact information, please.
Well, yes, I am on Facebook, and they can contact me through my personal name. I do have a business page, Arise International, on Facebook. I am also on LinkedIn, so they can find me there. My preference is that they would reach out to me through the website.
Okay.
They can go to the website, go to the contact us page, and fill out that information, and it comes directly to me. And I will respond within 2 business days.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the best way I can keep track of it and streamline it is through the website.
Miss Gwen will be honored here coming up in September at the Beautiful Hearts Award Gala on September the 20th.
Yay!
Salute you, salute you, salute you. You're doing some amazing work.
Thank you.
And I'm very proud of you for what you're doing. I'm proud of you for standing up not only for yourself, but also for the survivors. And my offer still stands. Let me know what I can do to help you to do whatever I can do. You know, if you need me to speak or whatever, to be a part, to bless you. I thank you. Last year, I had the opportunity to be a part of the graduation
Yes.
ceremony, and
Yes.
honored to be able to do that. So as we get ready to come to a close, I do want to give you some words, and I want you to kind of tell me the one or two or three, Miss Gwen, that stand out to you. Probably all three: healing, empowerment, and transformation.
Yes. Yes. And when I think about recovery, all of them apply.
Mm, yeah,
Healing, empowerment, and transformation, because recovery takes time.
yeah,
Recovery is a process.
yeah,
And so, yes, healing needs to happen in our soul
yeah,
because our soul has been fragmented as a result of
yeah,
that traumatic experience.
yeah,
Empowerment, because we need to get our power back.
yeah,
And the way you get your power back is when you get your voice back.
yeah,
And that's my job, is to
yeah.
help trauma survivors regain their voice and their power
Mm,
by
beautiful.
informing them what is the truth of their experience.
Yeah,
And then when we have those two things, healing and empowerment, transformation is just the byproduct of it all. You will be transformed.
you will be transformed. You will, if not regain your voice, you will find your voice, because
Yeah,
there are
I had to
some
find
people.
mine. I'm
Yeah, there are.
speaking today because I found mine.
Yeah, because there are some people that your innocence was taken at such a young age, you never had the opportunity to find your voice.
Right.
And so, if you are experiencing sexual abuse or trauma or anything of that sort, there are so many national hotlines that you can use to reach out and get some help. There are also local shelters and organizations that you can reach out to get some type of help and resources. Feel free to reach out to myself or to Miss Gwen as well if you need someone to talk to or to partner with you or agree with you in prayer, whatever you need. Feel free to reach out. We want to thank you for taking the time to tune in tonight to this episode. Miss Gwen, thank you so much for being
Thank you.
a guest tonight. Arise International, Miss Gwendolyn Jones. Thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank you.
for
Thank
being
you
here
for having
tonight.
me.
Amazing conversation, amazing conversation. Again, her contact information is in the link in the comment section. please go to her website and see how you can partner with her, or if you want to be a part of either one of her programs that she's got coming up, make sure to reach out to get more information so that you can get registered for those programs. Miss Gwen, final thoughts. What is your final thought for the night?
Final thoughts. I want to say to the trauma survivors who will hear this call, I want to encourage you and let you know that healing is possible.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. There is life after sexual trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to make the decision to begin the healing journey.
Yeah.
And only you can do it. But once you make the decision, then that's where supportive people come alongside of you. And that's what we do. We come alongside of you to support you in that journey.
Thank you again, Miss Gwen. You have a great rest of the night. Thank you all for tuning in tonight for another amazing conversation on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Make sure that you tune in on Thursday night. We'll have another amazing guest, and we'll do it again. Thank you so much. Good night, Miss Gwen. Thank you.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephanieMseatontheauthor@gmail.com.